Preparing is the key element that many business owners fail to execute on, in our experience, in our opinion, and our knowledge of the SBA programs in general, but definitely the COVID EIDL program after the program ended and processing regular transactions. This is EIDL update, October 2025. Action. If your small business received a COVID EIDL, you want to stay tuned for this important update as of October 14th, 2025. I'm Trevor, the EIDL expert. Thank you for tuning in. It's important for me to share with you at this moment during the government shutdown that it is possible to continue processing regular transactions with the Small Business Administration for your COVID EIDL. We're currently working on a situation where a client of ours obtained approval for financing from a commercial lender, and as a result, a subordination request is generated to the Small Business Administration for the COVID EIDL. Subordination meaning that the new loan will be in a secondary position behind the existing COVID loan, as is required under the terms of the loan agreement. As part of that subordination process, and we've seen this happen several times before, because the business had made some changes, notably in this case, a change of ownership, not to mention also how the person who submitted the application for this business originally screwed the whole thing up. I'll come back to that in a moment. But because there had been a change in the business, the request for subordination from the lender triggered a secondary requirement that the change of ownership, which has basically already happened, that needs to be retroactively approved by the SBA. And the client contacted us to assist with managing that process. We've been working on that now for about 2 weeks, and already I have gone through one loan specialist who was the person working with our client originally when our client contacted us, but then that person was, I don't know if they were furloughed, if they were transferred out of that division and was assigned to another team, another project. I don't know, because the inner workings of the SBA are often cloudy even to somebody like me who has direct access when I'm working with a client and who has experience working with the SBA. In any event, the file was reassigned to a new loan specialist, and I've had several conversations with her. She's an excellent, experienced person, and in fact a former mortgage banker just like me. So we definitely made a collegial contact when we first spoke. The good news, again, as of right now, Friday, she sent me an email asking for an update on paperwork we're working on to get the client's request for change of ownership approved. And I was happy to see that she was working on Friday, even though the government shut down on my birthday, October 1st. So therefore, as of right now, if you are processing a transaction with the Small Business Administration for any number of items required under the terms of the loan agreement you signed, there are people working at the SBA. I also want to address the timeline of your expectations to get something done with the SBA, separate and apart from a government shutdown. And this goes back to advice we gave to all of you here at this table during the pandemic, when we would do live question and answer sessions to assist people getting approved for the COVID loan. And at the time, we stressed one key element of our process that could help make you successful. And that advice is definitely, maybe now more than ever, relevant today. Hi, Tim Sohn. That is, before you interact with the SBA on any transaction, separate and apart from making your payments on the loan, if you have to process a subordination, if you're going to a commercial lender to get the loan approved before you even get as far as subordination, if you're doing a change of ownership, if you're changing your email address, you're changing your address, physical address of the business, which would require the UCC lien to be transferred. If you are selling assets, you want to sell the business, you want to bring an investor in, any number of transactions which you all would consider part of the normal course of business. Well, because you signed the loan agreement, you are required in most all of those cases to either definitely to interact with the SBA for notification purposes, but in many of those cases, you are required to get their permission to do any number of these transactions, including a change of ownership and including a subordination in this case. The advice that we gave during the pandemic is still true today. Prepare, prepare, prepare. 3 P's. Prepare, prepare, prepare. That just made that up. It's not really the 3 P's. We have in our guidebook a different set of P's: patience, process, paperwork, people. The thing about preparing is during the pandemic, when people hired us to either apply for their original COVID loan, or in many of the instances where people hired us, where they were declined for the COVID loan and they were coming to us requesting our assistance to get what was called a reconsideration, which, in a roundabout way is saying reapplication of a declined loan. What I discovered when underwriting the paperwork the client had submitted either to us directly in the first place for an original application, or in the case of a request for reconsideration, the paperwork they submitted to the SBA originally, or information that was provided was incomplete or inaccurate or improperly attended to. That's why we cannot stress this point enough. You must prepare. And as I have discovered here in this case with the client who hired us to manage subordination and change of ownership, sure enough, this client did not prepare properly to process that transaction. And basically right now what I'm doing is I'm cleaning up a pile of because of things the client did which demonstrate a clear lack of preparation, a clear lack of understanding of the SBA program and requirements. And thankfully, I'm working with a colleague at the SBA who we have a good line of communication. And let me say that she's not a bureaucrat. She's not just a clerk, someone who is just like checking off boxes. There is an ability to have a conversation and figure out what adjustments I can make to overcome the mistakes already made by the client. And she's been very helpful in that regard, including accepting some suggestions that I've made. We have guidebooks. We have 1-hour phone calls. If you wish to book a call or buy a guidebook, go to EIDLconsulting.com and you'll find all the products and services we offer. We have our free videos, of which there are hundreds of free videos here on this channel. We'd invite you to subscribe. And while you're doing that, just hit that thumbs up and tell YouTube this video has value, because then YouTube will share this video with more small business owners just like you. Please consider sharing this video with your accountant and your attorney, because frankly, the attorney in this case with the change of ownership screwed the whole thing up and did not take the time to understand what the way they put together the buyout, if you will, of the leaving business owner, that's what's going on here, was falling outside of the parameters of the requirements of the SBA loan program. And had that attorney just taking a few minutes to watch some of our free videos or to buy our guidebook, that attorney could have better advised this client. So here, as the client hired us, I'm not just cleaning up a mess created by the client's lack of preparation, but by the complete incompetence of their attorney. Professional incompetence. I don't know. Where I come from, I would call it malfeasance, because if you are irresponsible enough as a licensed professional like an attorney and you don't take the time to really understand a transaction that your client is paying you good money for, you're doing something very, very, very bad. When you are working with the SBA, you must prepare in advance. We are here for no other reason of our existence because you folks in our audience ask us every day of the week, emails, phone calls, comments in the YouTube comments in the YouTube videos for help. We are only here because the SBA does not provide the kind of clarity you need. And then when you process the transaction because you weren't prepared properly, you run into a brick wall, you run into all kinds of obstacles, you run into all kinds of problems you didn't ask for. That's my update, October 14th, 2025. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you in the next video.